let's get started. If you're on YouTube and you can see me in my car window, you know that I am not AI. Let me lock this car door. And before I even do my welcome, I want to let you know, if you're on an audio podcast, there's nothing wrong with your audio. There's nothing wrong with my audio. I am outside. I'm not in a studio. I'm walking while I'm recording. Please don't click away because you hear cars or my feet or my keys or paper, my show notes, and you think it's unprofessional. With that out the way, let's get into it. I have crossed the street. Welcome to Speaking Smashinese, the world's first psychology-centric, or some of you might want to say psychology-focused podcast that is recorded in the streets while walking and doing calisthenics exercise. I am recording in real time, which means I'm out here walking right now, approaching my first little hill. I will be out of breath shortly because I'm trying to walk briskly. For those who are new, Smashinese is a term I came up with in college, where I studied psychology and philosophy. It just means the language of making love, the language of making out, or the language of intimacy. I invite all of you to walk, bike, walk in place, march in place, in your living room or your kitchen with me as you listen to the show. In today's show, we explore why men are choosing not to approach women anymore. And everyone listening right now should notice that something has changed in the last few years. And you don't need statistics to feel it. You can see it. Open your eyes, look around. You can see it. You can feel it. And you doggone sure can hear about it on Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube, and whatever other social media that you consume. Men are approaching less. Now, dating apps still exist, so technically you can say that men have not given up completely. But approaching women in the wild and shooting your shot is seen noticeably, considerably less. I'm sure all of you would agree. Well, in the United States, that's where I am. I can't speak for the rest of the world. Maybe in Abu Dhabi, things haven't changed yet. And the conversation about this usually splits fast. Some people say, well, good. Women shouldn't be bothered. Men ain't no good anyway. Others say men have become passive. Men are afraid. Or the alpha male attitude has made men unwilling to put themselves in any situation where the result might be rejection. But today, like most days on Speaking Smashinese, we're not choosing a side. We're asking a question. Why is this happening? And while we're talking, while we're walking and talking, right? While we're walking and talking, think about, when was the last time you saw someone approach someone else in real life? And I'm not talking about the waiter that approached the table with the girls sitting at it, or the waitress that approached, or the nurse that approached you in the waiting room. But hold that thought, because I might be getting ahead of myself. What does approaching actually mean? You guys love when I do definitions to bring all of these things into clarity. Let me try to define it as simply as possible. Approaching means initiating connection with uncertainty. Please understand this official definition. Approaching is not just saying, hey, do you have a boyfriend? Or hey, do you have a girlfriend? To someone. Approaching also implies vulnerability. Because let's face it, you really don't know what is going to happen, right? You don't know the outcome. You don't know the response you're going to get. You don't know how you'll be received. You don't know if someone will start recording you and put you on blast on social media like you're some type of clown or something. Without argument, without a doubt, indubitably, approaching someone requires emotional risk. And while we're on the topic of emotional risk, let's go ahead and refine. I love the real lifeness of this podcast. Let's go ahead and define rejection too. We defined approaching. Now let's get into rejection. I know you know what it means, but for some people, it might help them to internalize what I'm saying, and this show might resonate a bit more. All right? Rejection is simply a perceived or real dismissal of your interest or your presence. That sounds so ugly. Which brings us to the accumulation effect. You see, I'm getting to my thesis for today. If a man gets one rejection, that's manageable, ladies, unless he's made of tissues and feathers, right? He's got to be really tender if he can't take one rejection. Most guys are smart enough to know that they can't collect a W every time. They can't collect a win every time. We are all going to catch our fair share of L's or losses in our lifetime. It's part of being human. All right? But this means most men are reasonable and expect more than one rejection in their lifetime. So what about 2 rejections, coach? What about 2 rejections? 2 rejections are still manageable for most confident, secure men. But we're not talking about 1 or 2 rejections. We're talking about repeated rejection. Here's a card. Rejection. 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 Imagine that. Rejection after rejection. Most men are not built like that. Most men don't have the confidence, okay, to deal with that over and over and over and over again. And that's where the low self-esteem kicks in, right? And things start to seriously shift because the brain doesn't process rejection as just part of the process. It often processes rejection as something about me is not landing, or something just must be wrong with me. And over time, ladies, thank you for your support. That adds up. And ladies, don't get me wrong. You absolutely have every right to reject 100 men in a row, 1,000 men in a row, if you feel none of them are right for you. Today's show is just letting you know why nightclubs are more like boys versus girls now. Why there's no dancing anymore. Group of girls dancing together, guys trying to find their confidence in bottle of beer after bottle of beer, or dealing with the pain and frustration of looking at your pretty behind but not willing to take yet another freaking L. Okay? It's also why men are keeping their credit cards in their wallets, their debit cards in their wallets, safely in their wallets, and not buying drinks for random women anymore in most parts of the country. I'm on the East Coast. I can't speak for New York and Miami, but if you listen to social media, it's the same everywhere you go in the United States of America. Think about it, guys. At what point does trying start to feel like failing? It's painful. You have to be able to empathize. It is painful. Look, this is what rejection does over time. Let's stay neutral and just observe, all right? Stop me if I start to take sides. But I put my human behavior scientist hat on, and I see that repeated rejection can lead to hesitation. It can lead to underarm sweating and overthinking. It can lead to avoidance. Just leaving women alone altogether. It can lead to withdrawal. So, not just leaving women alone, but just removing yourself from society in general. Not always. I must say that. Because some men just play the numbers game and keep trying and keep trying and keep trying. They don't even feel any type of way after being rejected, right? But rejection does take its toll on most men because at some point approaching stops feeling like opportunity and starts feeling like exposure. All right? Now let's talk about 2026, because 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 40 years ago, I couldn't even have done a show on this topic because this topic wasn't a thing. Maybe it applied to introverts and super shy guys, but this topic was not a thing. Let's add context by talking about the time we're living in, which is why I brought up 2026 when I'm recording this show. Today's environment includes, oh my goodness, social media, public interactions being recorded, online commentary, interview after interview after interview. And remember, hurt people hurt people. And these viral moments that can either make you rich or ruin your entire existence. So when a man has a thought to approach a woman in 2026, 2027, 2028 and beyond, the perceived risk is not just, well, she might say no. Again, most men can take a no with no problem. You heard that? Take a no with no problem. Anyway, but in today's world, men are nervously thinking, this could go beyond just a private moment. Should I really approach this woman? Is this safe? Again, not always. But perception shapes behavior. We have to remember that. And some of you ladies might be like, oh, boo-hoo, Coach Sumo. The big bad men are afraid of a little rejection from little old women. But do you understand how risk feels from the other side of the interaction? Are you the type of woman that you don't wait for men to approach you? So you approach. Not on dating apps. That's easy. That simplifies the process. You approach in real life and you get rejected time and time and time and time again. After you got cute, after you bought this outfit, after you've gone to the gym for 3 years and you know you look good, after you do your makeup, your hair, or you're naturally beautiful, whatever. Okay, beauty is beauty. What I'm saying is you are confident that you're a catch and that you look good and you at least want a chance. But man after man after man after man after man reject you. I'm good. You have a girlfriend? You married? Nah, but I'm still good. Thank you though, I'm flattered. Just be honest with me, ladies. Okay? And I'll say it again and again and again. Women have the right to choose. They have the right to reject. All women should set boundaries. So they have that right too. And I get it. You want to feel safe. And if the vibes aren't right, you're just not going to be interested. That is not up for debate. The solution to this problem is not taking away a woman's right to choose. And rejecting men is part of a woman's right to choose. But let's remember, two things can be true at the same time. And here's where this conversation usually starts to break down, right? Where it gets a little wobbly on its feet. Women absolutely have the right to reject men. And repeated rejection can shape the behavior of men. Both can exist at the same time without one canceling the other out. So, for anyone who has never studied psychology, if anyone has ever told you that two opposites, or two sides of a story or a subject or a topic or a conversation cannot be true at the same time, they are absolutely wrong. Because we just showed how women have a right, and the brain and the hearts and the pain in men are going to change their behavior over time. But still women still have a right to reject and wholesale reject. Okay? So, women have exercised their right to reject. We know that. And that has ushered in a behavioral shift. You may not have the training or the vocabulary to describe it that way, but this is where we are. And what do I mean? Some men approach less. A lot of men wait for clearer signals. And now we have wait, and we have less. And increasingly, more and more men are turning to technology and relying more on apps. And the final group just gives up and stops trying altogether. Okay? Welcome to the manosphere. Not because they don't want connection. Not because they've switched teams and they like men now, but because the process feels different now. And guess what? It still is not women's fault. I want to be very careful. This episode is not blaming women. This episode is also not criticizing rejection. This episode is not saying men should approach more. I am simply observing a shift. Think about it with an open mind. If the behavior of men is changing, what experiences might be shaping or causing that change? At the end of the day, we still must recognize rejection as a choice women are entitled to. And it should always be a choice, because boundaries matter, safety matters, and autonomy matters. And at the same time, you see how in a conversation like this, I have to keep going back and forth to make things clear? At the same time, experiences shape behavior. Patterns influence decisions. And over time, people adjust. Not always loudly, but sometimes quietly. Get my ASMR voice. Sometimes quietly. And sometimes what disappears is not desire. It's the willingness to risk looking like Bobo the Fool out here in these streets. I refuse to give any advice or make any conclusions today. I do not possess the answers to offer any solutions. This was just an episode to bring awareness, to give women and men who support my platform something to think about. All right? And this was short today, but we're not done yet because I owe you guys some push-ups. This is just the first bench that I'm coming to. On YouTube, you can see my show notes. This is what you hear, so I don't forget anything or ramble too much when I'm walking. There you see my title, Why Men Are Choosing Not to Approach Women Anymore. My subtitle, which I rarely say in my shows, is just to keep me on track: rejection, risk, and the quiet shift in dating behavior. Those things right there, this is how I do my monologue. This is how I deliver what I need to deliver. And I just need to keep myself on track. With that said, if you're new to the show, if this is your first time listening, what's happening right now is, yes, I've stopped walking momentarily because I'm also your free walking buddy and your free fitness coach. You listen to this podcast enough time, I will change your life. I'm just saying, okay? You listen to a show and you walk throughout the whole show, you'll see what happens to you. And it's something that I need as well. So, when I stop, you stop. Just like that. I'm doing push-ups. I like doing push-ups. You can do body weight squats. You can do box squats. You can do jumping jacks. You can do burpees. You can do lunges. But let's get those repetitions in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 9, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 7, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, and 50. Okay? Some people have asked that I do some shorter episodes so that they can listen and walk on their lunch break. Makes total sense to me. So that's it on this topic for today. I appreciate every one of you. I appreciate your support. You are listening to the Speaking Smashinese podcast, and I'm your host, Coach Sumo. I will walk with you in the next episode. Oh yeah, whatever platform you're on, make sure you check out the link for the website to Speaking Smashinese. I've created something really cool. You can now keep track of your walking, the episodes you've watched, and just take a look at it, okay? Share. If you're on YouTube, like and subscribe, all that good stuff. I'll walk with you guys in the next episode. Ciao.